Great, and welcome to this special TADHack resource video where we're going to be talking around accessibility. So we've had many hacks focus on accessibility over the years. Some were amazing to see. So what we've done for this year in 2022 is create an accessibility prize. And in creating that, we want to help hackers with some resources. So we're going to get from Chris, who I'll introduce in a second, some real world experiences. And I'll let that run through. We've got a couple of other resources that we'll be bringing in so that hopefully it'll help some of the hacks address real world issues that people with accessibility challenges have. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Chris Lewis, who I've known for quite a few years now. I think we've sort of been involved in many similar conferences over the years. I think I first saw you presenting, it must be 15, 18 years ago now. That's why we both have so much gray hair. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. Focus is around accessibility, real world experiences. Chris, over to you.
Thanks, Alan. Yes, many years, many conferences, and we're still doing it. Although in somewhat different circumstances, which is perhaps something we'll talk about a little later as well. So yeah, so I've worked as a telecoms analyst for the last 38 years in various roles with various organisations, always looking at telecoms, but gradually covering more and more elements of the telecom industry. In the last 7 or 8 years, I've also started looking much more at accessibility. I've been legally blind for over 25 years, actually with very little useful sight now. But so I rely very heavily on screen readers on the laptop, as I'm talking through today, and also on the voiceover and other things on the iPhone to generate speech from the text to allow me to do my job. Mm-hmm. And what I would say is that it has changed so dramatically over the last 25 years to give me access to so much content and to give me the ability to interact on so many levels. But yeah, it's a great topic, and building the more we move to be more software centric, in theory at least, the more accessible we can build things and include everybody, whatever their disability, impairment, or even preference at the particular time.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. So then, Chris, please share with us some of your experiences.
So I should point out, I'm speaking to everyone here today from my office here in the Garden in West London, and it was an office we built 10 years ago. So the frustrations of being a blind person using technology can often be heard by all of my neighbours who back onto this garden as I scream and shout and slam my fist against the desk, because Whilst, as I said, everything has opened up a lot more, accessibility has got a lot more focus, it's got a lot better. It used to be very separate pieces of kit, plugging into a PC, for example, or even an add-on piece. Now it's very much part of the operating system. It's built into iOS and Android. It is currently a third-party piece of software on the laptop, but Microsoft is increasingly building its own. But I thought I'd just give you a few examples of sort of the frustration, because as an analyst who knows the information is all there and knows the channels are there to get it to me, that actually it can be a struggle. So just very simple things like getting access to content. Someone sends you a link, and I'll give you a demo later, sends you a link, right? Nothing fills me with more trepidation than being said, oh, look at this link and play the video. It can literally take me 20 tabs to get to the video, or even 100 clicks to jump through, because obviously I can't see where the play button is. It will be obvious to you as a sighted person, it's right in the middle of the screen. Well, actually, the way the website is set up, that's not at all in the middle of the screen. It's actually 100 tabs through to get there. So that's one frustration. In terms of actually physical things, really interesting. I got a really nice coffee machine which grinds the beans, makes the espresso, and does all that thing for you. The controls on that luckily are quite tactile, so I can learn which buttons to press. But in terms of any errors, there's a little panel on the front with 5 or 6 different lights. Apparently I can't see it. And one tells you the water's out, one tells you there's no beans in the grinder feed, one tells you there's overflow in the drip tray, and one tells you there's too much coffee ground in the capture tray. But nothing that tells me as a blind person that that's the case. So I have to just go through each of those. I go through all those 5 things in turn to work out which one it is, right?
Yeah.
Pretty obvious solution. Another great example is just about finding places. So navigation wise, I do have a guide dog now, so he is brilliant, but he doesn't know where he's going. So if I'm trying to go to, say, a physiotherapy appointment, I can get Google Maps on there. So you'll notice it. This is my AirPod in my right ear in case I get any messages come through on my iPhone while we're talking, and that's the Jaws talking to me in that ear. So I can get Google Maps going, and it will tell me, you know, go northwest on this, go straight there, 400 meters, 400 feet, whatever. But actually, it's not accurate enough. Yeah. So it doesn't actually get me to the door. You know, it gets me probably in front of the few blocks of shops, but it certainly doesn't tell me the right place.
Yeah.
And then one of my favourite examples, and I think this really came home to me. I was invited to a conference in Vegas some years ago, and actually it's the Wynn Hotels. I think we can mention some resort names, can't we?
Yeah.
And Steve Wynn actually has an eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. And someone said to me, when you check in, tell them you've got RP and they'll give you an upgrade. I go, great. So I'm always happy for an upgrade. So I get an upgrade, and the person takes me to the mini suite up in this lovely hotel in Vegas, and leave me there. And I go, right. She leaves me again, and I go, right. So I then go through a routine of obviously unpacking and then finding things. Now I cannot find because I do like light's very important, right? For somebody with a little bit of sight, light's very important. Couldn't find the light switches. Couldn't find the way to shut the curtains. Couldn't find any controls for the TV or anything. So eventually, I found a physical phone on the desk in the bit of the thing, and I called the reception and say, "Oh, it's the little tablet by your bed, sir." Totally inaccessible, right? Touchpad, totally inaccessible.
Yep.
So that is a massive frustration. If you think that you're moving into this environment for however long, and you need to be able to communicate with people, you might want to play entertainment. You know, so actually, I think there is a major opportunity there in terms of integrating all those things together, using things like speech access. You know, I mean, I increasingly use the A word in the corner. There's an A word sitting behind me, or the S word from the A family, the other A family. Yeah. So all of those things become really useful. And in fact, my original degree was in computational linguistics, so how the different channels of communication we might use. And you know, we've gone full circle, haven't we? From as you know, Neanderthals grunting and gesturing, we've gone through the creation of text, the creation of computing and computer digitizing and everything, and we're going back to grunting and and again. So So those are just some examples, you know. And I say, as an analyst working in the telecom industry, I find it very frustrating because I know the stuff's there, right? I know there's an article to read. I know it's and then, you know, if I'm trying to register for a webinar, for example, often it gives me one of those reCAPTCHA things, which, you know, which says, tell me, print the letters. Well, what letters, you know? And then it gives you a sound option, and it's such poor sound quality. What do you mean? You know, I can't hear that. Anyway, so I think that'll give everyone an idea that whatever you're doing, just think of it if you can't have access to it on the site front. So should we try and do that? Should we try and do a bit of a demo just to
Absolutely.
do that? So,
yes, we should always have a demo. I'm a little embarrassed, but you know, it's only the first step at the website.
I've got. Hang on. Did I leave the meeting? Am I still there?
You're still here.
So I'm just. It's telling me share screen. It's saying basic. It's saying share screen. It's saying share sound.
Started screen share. Desktop. ZP toolbar parent WND. Stop share all this button.
I think you probably hear that now.
Yes. Coming through loud and clear.
So one of the points I made at the beginning was that the way that you navigate around Zoom, for example, I use a tab key most of the time, so it takes me
mute, current, audio settings button, drop, stop video, Alt V button, video settings button, open participants, more options for.
Because I can't move the mouse around, I have to jump that tab every time.
Yeah.
So you know, as you said when we were discussing it, it's a bit like an IVR system. You can't interrupt. You just got to go through every option to find everything. So
chat button.
And actually, where do you put a question in? Where do you put a chat in? But interestingly, the interaction between this, and there are plenty of shortcuts now available, the interaction between Zoom is different to Teams, is different to WebEx. There's no consistency.
Gotcha.
So it's really it's like it's like a new set of shortcuts for every application. But we did try and find one of your websites, Alan.
One reminder is TADHack Global TADHack 2022 Google Chrome.
So this is one we launched earlier. So, so I'm just I'll go to the top of the screen. I'm going to arrow down.
Right arrow bullet info TADHack.com. Link Twitter. Link LinkedIn. Link YouTube. Link. Navigation region. List of 3 items. Link more. List of 1 items nesting level. Link rules. List end nesting. Link previous. List of 8 items net. Link 2021. Link 2000. 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 List end nesting. Link blog. List end. Navigation region end. Main region. Heading level 2151 the 6th of October 2022. Heading level 2 global hackathon focused on programmable communications. Heading level 2 prize pot. Heading level 2 sponsors. Link.
And you see link. So actually there's 2 things to bear in mind there. One is that as you go down, it is I'm going down, if you like, serially through. So however the website's architected, it just bounces to each one. So most of your things are well labeled, and obviously I can change the speed of reading. That's the speed I prefer to hear it at. But then there are things which are unlabeled, and there is nothing worse in my vision impaired world than going through a thing. And it's true in websites, it's true in applications. So that was a link. In my iPhone version of that, it just says button, right? So that gives you an idea. So it's frustrating because that play button may well be somewhere very, very up front and center to you, but actually, but not to me.
Exactly.
So it's an architectural issue. It's an accessibility. And the good news is that within like the Apple Toolkit or the Android Development Kit, there are guidelines now, and they in theory test it. I mean, obviously things do get through. But there's a real issue, and this is something to think about from a hackathon point of view, that we talk about applications all being born accessible, which means it's not an afterthought. You think of these things, you have all the toolkits in place, and then really importantly, no regression, because what often happens is someone else comes in and sets a new app up, or refreshes an app, and they lose all that accessibility.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of work to be done. My favorite thing at the moment is this thing called inclusive design, which is not a telecom thing at all. It's a real designer's thing. And a lot of people talk about, because we're talking about people with disabilities or people who are not digitally enabled or whatever. And the phrase which I really like, really encapsulates it for me, is that they say you design for the edge and you get the center for free.
Exactly.
And that means if you design for the periphery of society or users, whatever, actually, then the mainstream user will be able to use it anyway. And the simpler and better things are designed, everyone finds it simpler to use. So.
Exactly.
So they have it. That's sort of my journey of.
Oh wow!
Not frustration, because it's great, but.
I must admit, accessing websites through an IVR fills me with dread.
That's great. Yeah, I love that.
No, this is excellent. Again, thank you so much, Chris, for sharing all those real world insights. Now, just a couple of questions just to sort of wrap up, because I know we're coming up on time here. So, how do you find sort of Siri or the G word, because I've got it out here in front of me, so I'm
fair enough.
Worried. Are they useful for you, or I'm just interested in your experiences with them?
They're really useful. So I would say, in terms of around the home and increasingly out and about, the smart speaker is just a major blessing.
Gotcha.
And if I'll give you my favorite example of how it's a blessing. So being blind, I don't see things written down, right? So if I need to spell something. So the other day, given pandemic and stuff, I had to spell the word curfew. I've never written the word curfew before in my life. So I just go, Alexa, how do you spell curfew?
Curfew is spelled C-U-R-F-E-W.
Which is great. You know what? I would never have thought that was so. But that's just that. So I think of the mobile device and the laptop as being the cameras are a proxy for your eyes, the microphones are a proxy for your ears, and the cloud is a proxy for your brain. So that all that, we know that information is there, whether it's about information about the weather. So that smart speaker, I think, and that being built into the smartphones and stuff is a fantastic development.
Excellent, and that's a great analogy in terms of the camera, the speaker, and the cloud for basically augmenting those parts of our body. Perfect. Now, have you played with or used Android accessibility tool, the TalkBack Reader?
Do you know, I haven't. So I think I mentioned at the beginning, so I used the JAWS screen reader as a third-party bit of software on my laptop.
Gotcha.
I use VoiceOver, which is built into everyone's iPhone device, if you ever want to play with that.
Gotcha.
That's easy to play with.
Yep.
And so Android, and obviously having committed myself, not totally to Apple, because I'm split between Windows and Apple, but to learn Android, it's a bit like learning a new language.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Zoom I mentioned. It's like a whole new set of, shortcuts and ways of working.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, so it's a really, I will do, and because Apple was always well ahead, right?
Yeah.
So when Apple developed accessibility, I think primarily to get itself into the education market in the US,
Yes.
it was sort of a government requirement.
Yeah.
And obviously Android didn't have that, but so Apple was always miles ahead. From the people I know that use Android, they say that Android is now up to on a par with Apple.
Gotcha.
Which is great to hear. So if you go to the Google, I think it's the Pixar, the Pixar phones, because it's the sort of cleanest Android.
Yes.
Apparently, really, really good from an accessibility point of view. So I will try it. It's one of my things that I have down to sort of do at some point. But in terms of running my daily life, running the business, I can almost run that through the iPhone.
Yep.
I still like to use a laptop for actually typing properly with a big full keyboard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the tools are just around you. It's great.
No, that's good. And of course, you're going to be one of the judges for the accessibility prize.
Yes.
So you'll be watching those pictures. So very interested. When the pictures have been given, you have to listen to in your job many presentations. What are some of the do's and don'ts?
Well, I thought I misheard you then. I thought you said watching those pictures, which I think is
Pictures,
well, it is the issue, isn't it? Yeah. No, and it's interesting because over the years, people are more and more. The good news is people are more and more aware, unable to, and feel happy to ask about. Chris, as a blind person, how can I change the presentation? And my answer is just tell the story.
Yeah.
Don't refer. You shouldn't refer to the slides too much anyway.
Yes.
In my mind, a presentation is a bit like a storyboard that goes back to your and my O-level French days when there were 6 pictures and you had to describe the 6 pictures in French or German or whatever.
Yep.
And every presentation in my mind should be a bit like that. It's a picture, it's a story, there's a sequence, it should flow, and you should know what notes you should be talking about against each slide. Don't refer to pointing on. I obviously pointing to a slide is no good to me at all. So tell a story, tell a story and use words, right? So it's more difficult. It needs more preparation.
Yeah.
But do the preparation and present the story and think about the flow of the story. That beginning, middle, and end, and the way it flows.
Excellent. No, that's great guidance. Again, Chris, thank you so much for giving us your time. This was really insightful, and looking forward to seeing you in October as one of our judges for the Accessibility Prize.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alan. Always
You're
a pleasure.
welcome.
Take care, mate.